All right, Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor that you do to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Chahak double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 I hope elect, Shalom, Rock and Thumb. And I pray you sincere brothers out there had a beautiful Yom Kippurium, or the Day of Atonement. As of yesterday, I just wanted to title this lesson, Pray Your Sacrifice is Accepted, okay? Brother Rakar Gabar, I put this in the group chat yesterday, and it just kind of stuck out to me, you know, of that sentiment, you know, that we pray and we afflict ourselves and we take the straight gate, you know, not out of certainty per se, but of hope. Now, just because you don't have certainty does not mean you can't be confident. Okay, now we're confident in what we're doing because the Lord said that, take up your cross, and follow me, and essentially that leads to having everlasting life. So for brothers that are doing the right thing, if you endure to the end, hey, the Lord will deliver you, man, and you can have confidence in that. But what we don't know for certain is if the Lord's going to keep that spirit on us, and that's why we humble ourselves and we take special heed to days like the Day of Atonement, like the Passover, okay? Because it's all about the Spirit of the Lord resting on you, man. Once the Spirit of the Lord leaves you, it's a wrap, man, okay? Look no further than the example of King Saul, okay? He technically had the crown for a while, but the Spirit was taken from him long before the Lord actually put him in the spirit world, okay? And it was a series of him, basically waxing worse and worse and devolving, getting more anxious, getting more rash, okay? He got more violent and vicious towards King David, okay? Out of jealousy, hate, and spite, man, okay? And we don't want to be that example, okay? Where you had it and then the Lord took it away from you because in your spirit wasn't right, So when we afflict ourselves and we go through things, we pray that our sacrifice is accepted, okay? Because that's really what it all boils down to. That's why the Lord set up the Levitical priesthood, is because he knew that Jake would go off, man, okay? And ultimately he had the order of Melchizedek set up from the heavens that would eventually substantiate itself in the earth, okay? So this is why Yahweh Shai is important, okay? Because he basically is the mediator, mediating on behalf of the sincere, of the elect spirits that are among the that are in the earth, man, okay? And if the Lord is up there mediating on our behalf, man, we're good. We're just striving to be a part of that number, man. But you're not going to be a part of that number if you're unwilling to suffer, okay? The scriptures say Yahweh Shai was acquainted with grief, a man of sorrows, okay? And this is why we don't like guys that want to constantly be in a spirit of mirth or constantly need to be entertained. They got to constantly make mirth out of everything, like the guys that made mirth out of the Passover, okay? When the scriptures tell you it's a time and a place for everything, you chose the one day where the Lord said, no, this is serious, for you to throw a big ass shalakia party with strippers, and so the Lord looks at these little things, and we want to constantly remind ourselves of where we are, how we messed up, okay? We're in the valley of the shadow of death, and you got to remind yourself of that and not get caught up on a nice day in Babylon where, hoes might be looking at you one day, out of a sudden you just getting to play. Yeah, I've had that happen. You ain't put on nothing special. You ain't done nothing special that day, but, women are just kind of like looking at you, and then all of a sudden your spirit gets turned. You can't be of that mindset where you get distracted by shiny things here, okay? You got to remember where you are, okay? And that's the whole point of the Day of Atonement. And so I pray for the brothers that are sincere, that their sacrifice was accepted, man, because we all We all feel it. We're all tired of being here. We all pray and hope that this place goes down swiftly, okay, and very soon, you know. But as we know, prophecies have to play out. So just a quick, I guess exhortation for brothers, that if you are sincere, okay, in afflicting yourselves and wanting to make the adjustments needed to get the victory, okay, that's gonna come in Jacob's trouble. You have to leave that apartment. You have to go without air conditioning for a while. Okay, if you're serious about those things, I pray, the Lord accepts your sacrifice, man. Okay, because that's really all we have. If He doesn't, we are through. Okay, if the Lord say that's not enough, which He has every right to, okay, then we're out of there. Okay, now we know that the Lord is merciful and He's long suffering. Okay, but He's not gonna be merciful on those that ain't right in their spirit. Okay, and only the Lord really knows truly what you're made out of. Okay, you can kind of tell some brothers, are stronger than others, but hey, every man's hour of temptation is going to have different levels of strength too. Okay, so as much built up in the spirit another brother might be, his test might be even harder than what he was built up for, and he might get knocked out, man. So we still have to go on hope and faith, that the Lord sees that we've done enough, man, because we could really never do enough. Okay, truth be told, we don't really deserve anything. All right, even being the chosen people, hey, there's some egregious things that have been done, man. There's a lot of things that have angered the Lord and that have built up His anger, and it's been reserved all of these years. Okay, and so to not know which side of that you're on, and to know if you've done enough according to the portion that you were given, hey, that should humble you. That should put the fear of the Lord in you, man. Okay, that's why the parable of the talents were given. It's because not every man's gonna have 10. Okay, not every man's gonna have 5. Some men are just gonna have 1. Okay, but whatever you were given, that's what you got to do something with, man. You gotta flip those talents, man. Okay, so put your best foot forward and hope that your sacrifice is accepted. Walk with humility. Don't be like these guys out here that are just walking around uncircumspect, not a care in the world, just looking for ways to indulge and engage in their flesh. No, afflict your flesh. Continue that, man. Go on a fast on a regular basis to the best of your ability. Okay, it ain't got to be a completely dry fast. You can go a day without no food. Okay, and just water. Okay, you can do that once a month. Really start working on putting your flesh in subjection and putting your best foot forward, because hey, we're gonna need every ounce of help that we can get, man. Okay, every ounce of help we can get. So I'll end it there, man. Lord willing, this is edifying. Call hello, Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Achahak, Radah Shalom, Kwam Yasharal.